All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a handful of real people out there just like you and just like me. All right, folks. Yes, the channel is definitely in need of more patrons, more YouTube members. If you watch this channel, I do get a lot of messages from folks, so I'm assuming that people are watching the videos. Buy me a coffee as well. So if you like this channel and you can do like $1 a month, $2 a month, I know the economy stinks. I understand this, and I did much better back in 2019. I'm just throwing it out there. And, vote accordingly. If you like low gas prices and low interest rates and low grocery prices, and maybe security at the southern border, then you should vote for the obvious choice, which would be the guy who people in some areas, especially in the rock world, seem to really hate. I guess you won't be hearing "Hold On, I'm Coming" at the Donald Trump rally anymore. So anyway, here's Colin James. This is my album of the week, Chasing the Sun. Blues and rock combined. This stuff is great. So check it out if you haven't. It has no support system. Rock stations don't play rock like they used to. They play this grungy, doom produced, super high tech sounding, where the drums sound all like machine guns, whereas this actually has drums on it that don't sound like machine guns. I hate the compression and all that stuff they do today. Pro Tools. I mean, really, this is the old-fashioned way right here. So blues and rock, and again, anything with soul, like has an R&B tendency, even if it's just the blues part of R&B, really doesn't have a home on mainstream rock stations. So even though this is rock, where else are you going to put it, right? So Colin James, been making great music now for like 40-something years. So good for him. So Brian May is in the news, and he's been in the news off and on because of issues with regard to his health. It says here, Queen guitarist Brian May says he had a minor stroke that left him unable to control his left arm. Now, a minor stroke, would that cause that much damage to his left arm? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one here on TV, but I'm thinking that it's probably not a minor stroke. He explained that he suffered a health hiccup. Notice how he's minimizing all this stuff. Oh, it's just a little hiccup. Okay. It was diagnosed as a stroke. He went to the hospital. Blue lights flashing, meaning an ambulance took him, but he reassured fans that he has since recovered and he can still play his guitar. Okay, he couldn't use his arm last week, and this week he's playing his guitar. So that's good news. But that would be kind of a frightening thing for most people. The musician has had a series of health issues in recent years. If you remember, May of 2020, when that dangerous thing was floating around, during that time, he had a heart attack, after which he had 3 stents. And by the way, I don't minimize the fact that that illness was difficult for many people. It certainly was, especially people who were, say, over 70 years old, which Brian May was at the time. So after he had a heart attack, he had 3 stents put in, and those, of course, are put in to help keep the heart flowing and the blood from not getting, clogged up. Afterward, May told the television show Good Morning Britain that he nearly died when he suffered a range of complications, including a stomach hemorrhage. Now, get this, as a result of the medication he was taking for his heart. Gotta love Big Pharma, right? They always have a cure. And when you're in a situation like Brian May, I'm thinking you're going to take their word for it. Now, Brian, keep in mind, was very pro CVS. He was very pro Walgreens, and he belittled people who didn't want to do that, which, again, I can forgive what these guys all said, but I'm not forgetting because it's probably going to happen again. And the same people are going to come out of the woodwork and say, well, we have to do this again. Did it help Brian May? Did it hurt Brian May? Well, I don't think it helped Brian May. And you might make the argument that it may have caused a problem for Brian May. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's what makes this so difficult. If you go back and watch my videos from like 2020, 2021, I'm talking a lot about how this is so easy to cover. You know what I mean? Because people could say, well, it wasn't that. You can't attribute that problem to what we did at CVS. No. Okay, so what's your reason for it? Well, it's a mystery. Natural causes. We don't know. But it certainly wasn't that. So again, talk about putting the blame on nothing and just pretending, whistling past the graveyard like, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think so, man. You're just a conspiracy theorist. So anyway, the proper thing to do here is to pray for Brian May. Pray for Brian May's salvation, because I think there's a spiritual element to everything these days where at the end of all of the negativity, of the turmoil, of the chaos and the problems, the political arguments, at the end of it all, the only hope we have is Jesus Christ. And I don't say that as somebody who's just trying to recruit for the Christian faith. All right. I say it because it's true. I say it because there's nothing else we can put our hope and trust in. You can't put your hope and trust in your guitar playing, although it's a nice thing to be able to have that talent. In fact, you can use that talent to persuade people, maybe in some ways, to listen to you, right? And to listen to what you have to say about things. That's why a lot of people were listening to Brian May during the pandemic, and they were taking his advice because he's famous and he plays guitar really, really well. But for the rest of us out here, we've got to make choices, and we're not famous. We're just normal people going about our day, and we have to be discerning and understand what time it is, right? What time is it? It's getting late. And people, and when I say that, I mean in the scheme of things, humanity, on the timeline, it's getting late and people have to make choices. Now, you can just ignore all this stuff and it's just some mystical stuff that you really don't care that much about. You're not going to change your life or your lifestyle. I say following Jesus is the right thing to do. And the other argument would be, what have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? You've got more to gain, and you could lose everything if you don't follow Jesus. So why take the chance? Anyway, sorry about the religious thing there, but every so often I get into that framework and I decide I'm gonna talk about it. So I did. And no, it's not the most comfortable thing for me to do because it's a little out of my comfort zone, but people have to know there's more to life than going to rock concerts. There's more to life than, worshiping at the altar of great musicians, which I know a lot of people do, and that's fine. It's an okay thing to a point, but when it takes precedent over other important things in your life, including your faith, I think you just have to kind of recalibrate your priorities. You don't have to get rid of everything that you used to do, but maybe you do some different things. I listen to a lot of Christian music now where I didn't before. I thought it was garbage. And now a lot of it is right up there with some of the stuff that I'm still listening to, but maybe not as much. So anyway, folks, all that to say, again, Brian May, we hope you fully recover from this and take the doctor's advice and rest. I'm not sure if they've given you any more medication, but I'd be pretty careful with the medications that they're offering these days because they don't really cure anything. They just treat symptoms or mask symptoms. So, all right, a lot of stuff in one video. Wow, you never know what tangent I'm going to go on to here. Colin James, Chasing the Sun. This is fantastic. Another great guitar player, somewhat unheralded, especially here in the United States. North of the border, in Canada, this guy is a big deal. That's Canada. Sorry, I was just trying to be goofy there. But he's a fine guitarist and should be on rock stations right now, but we don't have that. So enjoy it yourself. Go listen, stream, buy a copy of it. Also, folks, help me out if you can. Patreon, YouTube memberships, and buy me a coffee. I'll be back with more breaking news coming soon. So stay tuned.